Welcome to the 6th episode of The Anatomy of BL.
I'm Tops, aka Peanut.
I am Gubs, aka Dandelion, and we are still on the pursuit to rank all 91 of the BLs you've watched so far.
Thus far, yeah.
This is part 2 to the actiony ones. I know that last episode we left on a bit of a cliffhanger, but we saw that we were gonna go a little bit
Kicking this off, the drama we're going to talk about is one that we'll spend a lot of time talking about, so we didn't want to tag it onto the other episode. So
because we were really talking for over an hour and a half, so I'm like, okay, we can't just add it in. And I know I'm the one who suggested we cut it off. I'll take responsibility.
She is the one who suggested. I was also caught off guard.
Shut up! Shut up! You saw the time. But this is part 2 of the actiony ones. We will try to be more concise with future episodes. This episode though, because we're only talking about 3 dramas, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. So
I'll kick us off with the synopsis of KinnPorsche. That's gonna be our first.
The one that scares me the most.
I'm terrified. Okay. The second son of mafia boss Kinn, last name, is fleeing from an enemy when he meets Porsche, an enterprising young bartender. Porsche agrees to help defend Kinn from his attackers for a price. Porsche's martial skills impress and are spurred on by his father, and Kinn seeks to hire Porsche as one of his personal bodyguards. Kinn at first is opposed and rejects Kinn's offer despite his attempts at intimidation. Full stop. It isn't until Porsche's family and his ability to care for his brother are threatened that he apprehends and moves on to the mafia family property. It's not a smooth transition into the unorthodox and violent job, and his relationship with Kinn is strained and playful. Can't say that word. When his feelings for Kinn takes an unexpected turn, his work becomes even more high stake.
Okay, so like we mentioned in the previous episode, with this one, we're going to go character for character.
Character for character.
Because there's a lot
going on. I would like to go plot, but there's just so much going on that we have to do character for character.
We're going to have to do character for
even though it is mostly a plot-based drama.
Yeah. Because, okay, I want to start off with the main couple, KinnPorsche. And then the secondary non-couple, Kim and Shay, because they didn't actually tell enough in a couple. Spoiler alert.
Okay.
Right? And then I would love to end it with, I'm going to end it with Vegas. I want to end it with Vegas.
I would like to go in that order as well.
Great.
Right.
And then we'll talk about my favorite character, Han-gun, in between. He's amazing, fabulous queen.
Yeah.
Anyway, so starting off with Kinn. Kinn is a character.
Kinn is a character.
Yeah.
I like talking about Kinn. Okay. So Kinn, I think the way they went about Kinn's character in this drama, I loved. Because starting off, Kinn pissed me off to the highest degree. His impulsiveness, his immaturity, his emotional immaturity, his anger issues, his
arrogance. He has this thing about him where he feels like he thinks he's untouchable, and it's like, no, you're the fucking not.
Literally.
Literally, you're so stupid.
So many things about him that I didn't like. And as the drama was going on, oh my god, as the drama was going on, I just wanted to punch a nigga because he was supposed to be home.
He was.
However, out of all of the characters, I do have to say his growth is my favorite. The way he changed, I really liked it. Because it was I was watching him along the way. First of all, mature, oh my god, his emotional intelligence was the thing that really was pissing me off.
Honestly, same.
I was were you stunted as a child?
Are
you still a teenager?
Exactly. It feels like, I think he's it's like I'm gonna psychoanalyze him, right? It's a thing where it's like he experienced something really traumatic when he was a teenager, and they say that when you experience something really traumatic, you get emotionally stunted at that age. You can see that even in a character like Han-gun, right? Where it's like intellectually, he is still there. He's able to process things. He's even be able to see things that are like blind spots for his brothers, right? But he's emotionally stunted at the age where he got kidnapped and he experienced something really traumatic, right? So it's the same thing with Kinn, where I'm like, okay, fine. Were you stunted at the age where you had to take on this role?
Yeah, I think even the case. It's like
same.
Out of nowhere, because I mean, he was the middle child this entire time. Like, I'm just a middle child. Middle child really doesn't have any role.
Exactly.
No offense to middle children out there, but that's all that matter. It's the eldest and the youngest.
Yeah, that normally had like the most pressure.
So he was going upon life just existing, and then all of a sudden, like,
he's thrust into this role.
You are now going to have to be the leader. You're the one who's going to take over. Your older brother cannot.
Exactly.
Your younger brother sure as hell cannot. It's going to be you.
It's going to be you.
And I think that's what had him like, okay, I'm now thrust into this world. I have to be this, like, I have to be this thing that my dad is saying I have to be. I have to be this tough, scary mafia boss. I have to always appear confident, because if I show any weakness, I'm going to get me exactly killed. Like, I have to always portray this image of like
mafia like I'm tough guy. And it's like, we can all see the little boy screaming.
We can see the little boy screaming for help. We can see the child.
Yeah, you can see it in the child screaming.
Yeah, we can see it. So, usually I'm not the biggest fan of like people being cured by the dick thing. Or it's like a person is therapy. Yeah, literally dick is suddenly therapy. I'm not the biggest fan.
I think I need to issue a warning, right? In this, okay, us talking about KinnPorsche in particular, therapy's going to jump around a lot. I'm just saying, I've said this once. This is the one thing that's going to come up repeatedly for me as a talking point. Fucking therapy. Continue.
So like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of like dick being your therapy. Like you're this messed up person and then all of a sudden like, okay, you fuck somebody. But this is one of the few instances where him meeting Porsche changed him very better. Like him meeting Porsche and falling in love with Porsche had him wanting to be better. It's like, that's the thing. This entire time he didn't care. I'm just existing. I'm a mafia, like whatever. I'm gonna get my fuck boys and my boy toys around, all that stuff. But with Porsche, it was like, I want
to be better.
I want you, and to have you, I have to be better. I have to start considering you more, because man's was selfish as hell. I have to start considering you more. I actually have to trust you, because he also had trust issues. There's so many issues that Kinn had, but he knew that in order to keep Porsche, the person that he actually wants, I had to work on those things. I actually had to.
He was making effort, even if he wasn't necessarily going to see an actual formal therapist.
Yeah.
Kinn, out of everyone, had the best growth, because he was putting in effort to become better. And I understand that, like, talking in the context of the fact that this is a mafia family, I don't expect them to have a therapist on hand, right?
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, as long as I'm seeing that you're actually putting in effort to become better.
It's also Asian society in general, like, looks down upon like things like mental health and actually getting therapy and what. It's a lot of layers in that.
It's a lot of layers.
I don't expect them to actually but like, you need to work on yourself. It can't just be that I met this person, cool,
that's who I am, and I'm not gonna change.
But in this instant, he was like, no, I can be better. Like, I can see a version of me that I can be. And I think the first time this like clicked for him was when they were trapped in the woods. When they're trapped in the woods by themselves, and they were having conversations about things like, oh, if you weren't in the mafia, what would you be? Learning these things. That's when you also see that Kinn is literally just a little kid who was
literally, that's why his little boy shined through.
Rotten. Like, oh my gosh, like, you're just a little kid who has no choice essentially but to take on this role. Like, he even said this one line of like, sometimes I feel like Dangun is deliberately acting crazy
so he doesn't want to, so he doesn't have to take on this role.
Because it's hell in here, it's horror. You have to be a certain kind of exactly. and like, I think that's something that has like weighed on him for a very long time. He's like, I can never act like Dankun. I can never act like Kim, which we'll get into it. I can't leave the family. I can't let responsibilities. I always have to be a mafia boss.
Because I think with him as well, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm suspecting that my brother is acting this way because he can't handle it, right? I don't want my little brother to be the one to be caught up in all of this, because he's living his own life. He's actually making music even.
Yeah.
Like, he's able to have all this freedom, how do I then sit there and throw him to the wolves?
Exactly.
I can't do that.
How much this weighs on a person. I can't give this to anyone else, so I'll just bear it. But I do this like this because even when like Kin does get like those moments of happiness, like when he first gets with Porsche, the first time they hook up,
the vaguely consensual
context has to be given though with this one.
It's I don't like it, and I don't like it. But when you don't like it, I would prefer it if like Porsche was silver. Yeah,
in an ideal world. But like context. I do. Man, I should not be praising people for the big. I was about to say he did try resisting, but Porsche is a seductive motherfucker. And like say I don't want to
let me go back. No, listen. I don't want to
compliment the bare minimum. I agree. I'm not doing that. But I just have to say, seducing the
go back to like historic folklores to you.
That's it. Okay. I agree. I didn't like it. I didn't like it fine for anyway. But like, at the point of like Kin is in this like little like, you know, I got to hook up with this guy that I find really attractive and I think I'm vibing with. And then his dad does this whole speech of like, this whole speech with an apple. He's peeling an apple. Basically, he's reminding Kin of his responsibility.
Yeah, basically.
You can't be these things where you're falling in love and like, you know, being happy.
Basically, you don't deserve happiness if you're still in this role.
Yeah, in this role, your main objective is to be the leader of the main family. None of the tomfoolery where you're falling in love at the weakness and that shit. And Kin, like we said, he's a child inside, and
Dad fucking hates him.
He does, I swear.
I swear his dad.
I agree. I agree.
The dad is.
The dad does not. The dad has favorites, and it's clear.
He has favorites.
Kin is lost. Kin is lost place. I don't care. He was made the leader.
Exactly. He's lost place. He's throwing Kin in that position because he's lost place.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
But what you call this, and because Kin is very reactive as well, like impulsive, reactive. These are tendencies of a child. Like we said, like
he emotionally stunted.
Very emotionally stunted. When he gets feedback like this from his dad, anyone really who's like challenging his ability to be a leader, to be a mafia boss, he lashes out. And unfortunately, for the most part, he lashed out against Porsche and like said and did horrible things to Porsche. Not biggest things, but we'll get there. But like, you know, he was not very nice to Porsche. He was very inconsiderate of him. But the contrast between how he was in the beginning to how he treated Porsche now and Kin was clearly developing as a person, is phenomenal. Like watching him from a time when he would throw Porsche to the wolves if he needed to, just to appear to everyone else that answer the mafia boss, to standing by him and being like, I'm protecting him.
Because I remember there was this one, you know, the scene where Porsche kind of lashes out. I don't remember who he was exactly. He was lashing out at. I think he was lashing out at Kin's dad. Right. Yeah, that scene, somebody pointed out the fact that because Kin tried to like comfort him, like on his back,
put his hand on the
small of his back, like to be like, okay, calm down, right? When he pushed him off, somebody pointed out the fact that he raised his finger, right, to like be like to signal to the other guard, okay, don't touch him, don't touch him. He's just reacting.
So, past Porsche would have like,
past Kin would have been like, hey.
First of all, he would have ordered that the bodyguards punish him in the past.
Yeah.
If Porsche did something like that, Kin would have been like, no, you're going to be punished by the guards, which he has done. But this time around, do not touch my man.
Don't touch my man.
I understand why he's acting this way.
He has to be right.
So, that's Kin. I love Kin.
I like this girl. He was incredible. Honestly, Kin is one of those characters where I'm like, from the beginning to how he developed throughout the story to the end, he had the best growth. I'm just gonna hands down. He had the best growth. He had the best growth.
It was unexpected. I really didn't think they were gonna do it. I thought they were just gonna keep him mafia as mafia.
He's a mafia. That's all there is.
I thought they were gonna do a whole thing of like, oh, he's tough, but he's soft for Porsche kind of thing.
Exactly.
But that's not the case. He's just matured. Like before, it was not in like he was tough, but he was just immature. Like there's a difference. But in this, it was like, yes, he's getting softer for Porsche, like, okay, my baby, I have to protect you. But also, his emotional intelligence is clearly developing.
It improved on every single front, because even now, how he handles like different business with different people, it's changed.
His impulsivity as well, like it's decreased
By a lot.
By a lot, yeah.
Like significant.
Because Mans was doing dumb shit. I mean, not
Bro.
that like he was now the smartest person in the room. Because
He wasn't.
He was still doing dumb shit.
He
He
wasn't.
was like, what is this now?
If I'm ranking intelligence of the brothers, he's lost.
He's lost. And that's unfortunate.
He's
That's
not
not emotional intelligence.
like actual intellectual intelligence, he's lost.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Like the plans that he was doing and the things he was doing.
He was just stupid.
Dude, come on, man.
Come on,
What is mafia
boss? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Alright, now.
Okay, so now moving on to his partner, Porsche.
Posh.
He has the worst.
You need to be gentle with this.
I need to. Okay.
I'm a very big fan.
Okay, fine. The way that I feel about Kinn developing into a better character and becoming better throughout the show, I feel the exact opposite of Porsche. Right? Because Porsche's actions throughout the show worsen and worsen and worsen, right? I think it's a thing where it's like, even he doesn't realize he's becoming worse.
Nobody
as he's
does.
going along. Like, nobody is actually realizing or picking up that he's actually becoming worse. And I don't think even a lot of people in that fandom pick up that he's actually becoming worse.
While Kinn is becoming more selfless, Porsche is becoming more selfish.
Because if you like watch Porsche's actions, right? Porsche's main motivation from the beginning, don't get me wrong, he was like a martyr, right? He was completely selfless.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm doing this for the sake of my brother. Like Porsche, I will do anything to protect Shay, right? I'm literally giving up my entire life to protect my brother.
Protect him, put him through school. Anything for him, he's the priority.
But then if you contrast that with Porsche at the end, Porsche was capable of forgetting Pete and forgetting that Pete was still in Vegas's clutches. Porsche, who sold out Pete, even, right? If you contrast these two people, Porsche has gotten progressively worse.
I really didn't understand that whole thing because I feel like he still could have, obviously, whatever. I still feel like he could have still gotten what he wanted without actually compromising his.
Exactly.
It's like, you know the context to which we'll get to them, what happened between Pete and Vegas.
Why is it? You don't know the exact details.
Even if you don't know the exact details, but you have an idea.
Flipping traumatized.
And you hate Vegas yourself because of the betrayal
What he did.
Yes, you know how bad Vegas is outside of what you think
Exactly
happened to Pete. So why now when you're bargaining to get things that you want, you're going to bargain your brain? Like you don't know what the outcome is going to be. You actually don't know how crazy Vegas could be. You don't know him. Like all that he's shown you is the bad. Okay, well, he's showing you the good, but you've seen that this is not a good person.
Exactly.
Everyone says he's not a good person. And yet when it's coming to, when you need something here and you need to bargain, you bargain with your friend, with Vegas of all people.
Bro.
You have your brother, first of all, your boyfriend, whom I know that right now you don't know who to trust because the situation was very
vague.
Very vague. You don't understand what's going on. You're getting different stories from different people. Your uncle saying this and that. You don't know who to trust. But the fact that you trusted Vegas, who's betrayed you, and being betraying everyone, whatever. The bad guy in the story, you trusted him over Kinn, who's your boyfriend. I don't understand. Kinn from not trusting you in the beginning because of his trust issue or things that happened, he's now wholeheartedly trusting you. No matter what, Kinn was like,
I'm going to trust you.
I'm
placing my trust
even though you're acting weird right now, I'm still going to trust you. You couldn't afford the same thing. To him, you couldn't do the same thing.
Bro.
That you went to Vegas for help.
Bro.
That really pissed me off. I really didn't understand that because I was like, I get that you don't know, you can't trust the main family. You feel like the main family is hiding shit from you.
Yeah.
But what was the point of your whole development with Kinn? What was the point of your whole relationship?
For you to just not trust him at the end.
Only for you to go with the person who you know you can't trust.
The person who tried to rape you.
Tried to rape you, betrayed you, tried to kill you. Was working with Kinn's ex. Was involved with the killing of Big.
You think this extinction? No, he did.
Oh, and kidnapped Pete.
Yeah, you had broken and lying. You saw that.
You saw it.
That was still the person that you challenged.
Well, how was the scale that, Vegas the bad guy, I definitely won't trust. Or Kinn, who I possibly can't trust. How were you choosing Vegas? Your first thing should have been fuck, I know that let me just take a chance with Kinn and ask him to help me. Because Kinn would have helped him. Yes, Kinn would have had his reservations because Kinn
doesn't want to necessarily go against his dad.
Yeah,
but fair enough. He still would have trusted you.
He still would have trusted you. Let's do his investigation and see what happens. I didn't like that. That was one of the things that didn't make sense for me as a character with Porsche. And it, like, I feel like it's a setback in a relationship. Like,
it is.
After these, however long you guys have been together, building the trust that you had, building the relationship that you have, only for you to be like, I don't think I can trust you still. I'd rather trust the guy that I know. For 100% sure.
I can't trust him.
He's a neural stake.
Bro.
For sure I can't trust him. Dead ass. The entire May family does
not trust him. Even his own family does not fucking trust him.
Fucking hates him, and he's been empathizing with thing to me since the day I met him.
That do not trust Vegas.
Don't trust Vegas. And here I am going to Vegas and not only trusting him, but bargaining
my friend.
I did not like that.
And he can possibly even come to me with false information. Because he's known to manipulate people.
He's criminal. Like, how many, like, he's been doing false information. There was false information, and then he would drag you and try to rape you. And can be like, he's just a bad guy. How was he an option? How was he even something that got to your mind?
I genuinely don't understand it. The progression of him as a character. I mean, Porsche as a character. Genuinely, I feel like he got worse. Like,
Flawed me, confused me.
It completely confused me, because even his connection with his brother, after his brother moved to the main family house nonetheless, like, he's in there.
He's in the mafia
and
house.
He still wouldn't necessarily, like, check in on him, like, being like, okay, how are you doing? Like, he just got worse. To me, honestly, Porsche's character...
And the thing is, this was clearly something unintentional by the writers and whatnot. So. And for the most part, I think most of the fandom doesn't care or didn't even notice. But for me, it was clearly obvious. And I'm looking into these are the kind of characters, more than any, because this is very plot-based.
Yeah.
These are the kind of characters that you go into depth with and you look into deeply, and it's very annoying when you know the characteristics of each character, because we know them. This is
This is
and if you do something that is fundamentally
not true,
like, it's not Porsche. This is not something he would have done, and I don't know what
Porsche
that is.
At the beginning, bro.
I know he's highly motivated to find out what happened to his family,
but ain't no way.
But like, they still
protecting Porsche was looking out for every single fucking body around him.
There's still limits to what you do, bro. And like, yeah, because Vegas was the enemy. I don't care at the end, like, there's this whole like powwow, bro. It's still the fucking enemy.
Yes.
From day one, he's been plotting against them. It's just like he's a main character, but like, in the dead. I think he had the worst progression.
I
love Porsche as a character.
He was my favorite.
He was my favorite.
He was my favorite because I genuinely wanted to root for him.
I was rooting for him.
Exactly. But by the time we got to the end, I genuinely was like, that one,
and like already, it was some goofy shit. I could excuse it by the fact that they were deep in their honeymoon phase.
That's
when Pete was initially even kidnapped, and like Kinn and Porsche were like just fucking, and they were happy. I can excuse that they close their eyes,
their brain mode. They just happy that they have each other, and like, everybody's alive.
Yeah, that's what they thinking. So I could excuse that. But also another moment where I was like, bro, Pete is still your friend though. The fact that you texted him, exactly, and texted him and being like, how's your grandma? And stuff like that. Like, that's weird. Not the same Pete that's been standing up for you where you were getting punishments here. Pete was the one who was saying to Kinn, who is his superior, by the way. He was like, you're lying. I don't want to speak out of pocket, sir, but please be gentle with Porsche.
He has all the good intentions. He's a very good bodyguard. I believe in him.
Exactly. That was the bad for him.
Like, same friend that you had the audacity to forget.
You forgot him. I know. Like, it was some nonsense. But I was like, you know what? They're still in their honeymoon phase. It's cool. I was giving excuse. Yeah, I was like, no, they're happy. They've gone through a lot. They're happy. But once they're out of this, they're going to be thinking of Pete. No, Pete comes back. You comfort him and everything, and then the first thing you go right to your boyfriend is to bargain him away. Go right, like, you bargain him away, like, for your own interest. That pissed me off. Really, really pissed me off. Porsche, I don't know what happened to you.
Bro, Porsche was trashed by the end. I
like, sorry, but like, I take friendship very, very seriously. Same. When you do shit like that in friend, and like, I can't either. Other people might not care. Other people will be like,
my friends literally are like,
no matter.
There's such an essential part of my structure and my ability to function that I can't ever picture myself doing that shit.
Sacrificing you for someone I know for a fact might hurt you.
Bro, you came back. You couldn't even tell me what happened. You protected him. You came back to me broken and crying.
was an emotionally broken dude, and I know that he did something to you because I know the kind of person.
Exactly.
And yet, when I get the first chance I get, I start
back to him.
Why not the option to beat yourself first? At least punch you. Let me punch you. And then accept it.
But at this point, like, he has a powerful position within the main family, right? He could get a bunch of bodyguards, go fucking attack Vegas and get the information extracted from him.
I don't understand. How shitty. No, next couple. It's the non-couple. It's the couple non-couple.
KinnPorsche. I will never forgive the authors, the screenwriters, the production, the director, any fucking person, the makeup artist, wardrobe, specialist. I don't care. I will never forgive y'all for what y'all did to Shay. Why are we breaking the heart of the baby? How are you gonna get us attached to the soft boy? Like, I was literally sitting here, like, please protect Shay. Like, no. Anybody else would protect him. She's protecting Shay.
Even when King was coming in, and I was like, fuck, you coming in with ill intentions. But I can see that you joking.
Exactly.
I can see that you don't like him. I can see that you're joking. Exactly. So I'm going to let this work out. Okay, I'm going to stay.
You're even down going to punch you.
When they got together, I was like, okay, exactly. I know you're on a mission. I know you're doing some things.
Exactly.
Do not hurt this boy.
Don't hurt this boy. Oh, and then, like, he gets the most hurt out of it.
Out of everyone, he gets the most hurt and then doesn't even get a happy ending.
Bro,
like, I just like, this is some bullshit. We don't. There is a couple that should have not ended up together at the end,
and they're all together. What the fuck?
And here we have Shay crying, watching a music video, watching a song being played to him. Guys, fuck y'all for that shit. But it's time safe. Let's start with Kim. Kim's a very interesting character.
I would say out of all the brothers, he's the second versatile. Put him at number 2.
I also put him at number 2.
He is a very interesting character in the sense that, like, his whole presentation, his whole thing is the fact that he's presenting himself as if he doesn't really have an interest in the mafia side, but we can see from the jump that no, he's investigating something.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, by the end, we still don't know what the fuck he was investigating. But anyway, so he was investigating something, and then he knows that it's connected somehow to Porsche and Porsche, right? So his way of kind of, like, getting to know more about whatever the fuck he's investigating is by getting closer to Porsche.
Yeah.
Porsche already was a fan of King, right? Which his performance name, I think, is Wick.
Yeah, Wick. Inverse.
And
yeah, inverse.
So he's, like, already a fan of Wick as, like, a performer. So he was like, okay, I'll just, approach him in that capacity. So he takes full advantage of this, and their dynamic is very like Sunshine and Sunshine Protector. Very much Jeff and Barcode in real life as well. So it's like,
yeah, but these days, Barcode.
Barcode is doing something else.
Yeah, these days, Barcode is batting, okay?
And as he hit 18,
once he hit 18, it's like, okay, hold on now.
Exactly, hold up, slow down. Shush. But yeah, they very much have, like, this the dynamic of, like, Sunshine and Sunshine Protector. Initially, Kim is approaching him only with the idea of, like, okay, I'm gonna go in and, like, extract information or whatever. But then he kind of is taken aback by him because of the fact that, like, Kim comes from an environment where people only liked him only when they stood something to gain, right? So for him being liked so, like, unabashedly by someone who's, like, very open about liking him, and not only that, but likes him genuinely, like, doesn't even need a flippant reason. It's just like, I just like you. Like, I don't even know you that much, but my God, I want you. Right? So he's kind of caught off guard, and it starts, like, chipping away at his, like, defense mechanism, which is mainly just push people in the way. And it gets to a point, it, like, all goes to a head where Shay decides to, like, do a whole confession thing. Like, before we even get here, like, we've been seeing that, like, Kim has been avoiding things, right? So Shay would say stuff like, "Oh, I like you. Do you like me too?" And then he would be like, "I was like." But like he would like have all these like little moments where you can see he's trying to run away from him, and it's chipping away at him because he's also getting feelings.
Yeah.
But then by the end, when she actually finally confesses, like outright, is like, "No, I like you. Like I genuinely like you." Kim breaks all of our hearts collectively. And I'm like, now I'm not gonna entertain this. And like Shay begs. So Kim basically now is like, okay, fine.
But to prove that, right, with the rejection, it wasn't like the way of him rejecting him. Oh gosh, there's layers, right? So so it's first for Shay finding out that like Kim is actually part of this mafia family. He's like, oh wait, hold on. So he's not just a musical artist. He finds out he's part of the mafia family. And he's a little betrayed by it, but he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna go find out from him. Like, I'm gonna
talk to him.
Yeah, like, were you just using me, or like, was it real? Like, because he's like, you know, you have that little bit of hope. But, you know, it couldn't all be fake. You know, like we had our moments, like, you know, and whatnot. But then it's Kim saying, no,
I wasn't using you.
I was using you. That's where the heartbreak is. Like, it's not even just like he told him that, oh,
you rejected him in the worst way possible. Basically.
Yeah, it's like not only that I don't like you, but I was using it this entire time. I didn't even want to hang around, basically. So for Shay, okay, I'm not gonna go there.
So because now he's like, Kim himself is basically running away from his emotions. He's still kind of doing this whole thing, but he's like, okay, I'll protect Shay from the background, essentially. So I'm not gonna engage with Shay. I'm just gonna like keep my distance, not contacting him or anything. I'm just gonna like become sunshine protective from the shadows, essentially. And just he does things where he's like trying to protect it consistently. Did he even find out about Shay not going to university anymore? Because I don't think he did. I think no, he did. He did find out. He's the only one who knows.
Because Porsche does not know that he. Because Porsche has no interest in what he's butterfly.
It's such anyway. Let me not get mad.
Brother's great. Heartbreak for
bro. She's getting his pussy busted open.
That's all he cares about.
Bro. Anyway, so he knows. He tries to like convince Shay that like, okay, no, go back. Shay doesn't want to hear it. He's like, fuck it. So he becomes just like sunshine protected from the shadows. And he does things like, even when like Shay's life is in danger, he's there to actually physically protect him. There's this one scene where like she had like headsets on, while there's this whole fight going on around him in the same room, and he kind of just wakes up and there's bodies around him, which it's just like, and Kim is gone. And Kim is gone, so they never really talked, and it just kind of ends with Kim reaching out with this video, because at this point now Shay is the one who's avoiding him.
Yeah.
Whereas initially it was the other way around.
Anyway, Kim is obviously does have feelings for Shay, but like Kim is in his like go boss mode, where he's like, no, I'm doing this investigation. I can't have emotions cloud my judgments and everything. Like I'm blocking everyone out. I'm a lone wolf and all that stuff. But he like as time goes on, he's like
a brooding teenager. He's also emotionally stunted.
One of them. I mean, I guess it comes with growing up in a mafia family.
Yeah.
You can't be completely obeyed.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, like at some point, he's like, fuck, but I am in love with this boy, and I lost him, and now I want him back. And our main connecting point, the main thing that brought us together is music in general. But the song in particular is our song. Beautiful song. Now that song, Jam, beautiful voice. Listen, Jam, that's on our playlist for life. Damn, Jam. I can see Jeff is an amazing musician. I will down this hill. That Jeff was an amazing. The thing that like had me like, I was like, cause like Jeff is like my faves. Yes, like even my faves are simping for this man. But my God, he's so talented at singing, and the voice is incredible. The voice is. I love his voice. This world. That's why he's in my playlist. Like, when he sings, I'm just like, I don't know how Che at that point wasn't like, look it up. Now I've been like, okay, no, it's fine. I'll be a bit dramatic. It's fine. We're okay now. Bro, it comes. Jeff was a musician, guys. Amazing. I don't know why he still doesn't have a full length album out. He's playing with us. Oh, Jeff. Anyway, yeah. He's pretty new. That was Chin for the most part. So now Che is our soft little baby. Soft vibes, masculine energy.
Kind of goes on the same route that like with Kim throughout this entire thing, we watched him soften up. So he's in a way become better, like with being more vulnerable, right? And not being so untrusting. Because he also has this thing where it's like his dad knows that he knows something, or his dad is a way that he's suspicious of something. So it's like, I know you know, we both know that we know, we're both suspicious of each other, but we're not necessarily talking about it.
Even Tankun is
exactly.
Even Tankun is aware that
something's going on.
It's only Kim who's just.
It's only Kim who's not aware what's happening with Kim, right?
He has no idea.
Literally both Kim. Both KinnPorsche don't know what's happening with their promise.
Oh, like on the side of
Bro,
they are so involved in
the whole thing. Their bubble that they're in here, nobody else can penetrate it. But anyway, so his whole thing is the fact that like, I'll say I think he's the second favorite son as well. Also, even in terms of intelligence, I think he's like number 2. But like,
what about
Kim?
Yes,
Kim, right? So, the whole thing is the fact that like where like there's this whole investigation that he's doing. The dad is aware of the fact that like everybody knows something's going on. So he's come from a place where he's very untrusting, like with everybody, including his dad, his brothers, nobody. He doesn't trust anybody, right? To a place where he is becoming more okay with vulnerability, right? And becoming more aware of his own emotions. So he has improved. Porsche, same thing with his brother. Opposite effect. Opposite effect.
Those boy, let's kinder to whatever boy. Like when heartbreak trusting. If like when heartbreak came into play, no, can't call the person when you're heartbroken.
Yeah,
but
he went off the deep end.
He went off the deep end, and in a way, we don't do this,
bro.
We don't do this.
That's the first thing.
When you get heartbroken, it's okay to sit around and mope, cry,
drink alcohol, get drunk,
fuck it out.
Turn up at a club.
Like you're acting reckless. But we do not fuck with your bag. We do not fuck with the bag. Ever.
Listen. Okay, if there are any younger people listening, it's like you're a bit younger, and like you're still in the throats, whatever it is, of your emotions, right? You're in deep. You're saying this is my soulmate. He is not. I don't care. Even if he is your soulmate, your bag,
you don't fuck with the bag.
You don't fuck with your bag.
You see, when Porsche now was like not going to the university interviews, I was like,
fun.
I was like, I was okay with you drinking in the club. Yeah, in your hand.
Yeah,
on some bad bitch mode.
Yeah,
fine, you can do.
You're heartbroken. I get it.
You don't not go to the university interview.
So the university of your dreams?
The university of your dreams.
You've got an entire life
ants to get you there.
No. He's stopping both to get you into university.
And you out here. That's when I was like, Che, come on.
Say, I get your heartbroken, but babes, no.
Don't do this.
No.
You can be reckless in university.
Ain't no man who's worth that shit.
Ever. I will never, like, it will never be a thing where I'm throwing away my future for a man. Like, I'll do some reckless shit, mind you, but we're not fucking up the bank. Like, the reckless shit would be like maybe getting scolded by my mom or some shit like that. But I'm not taking it as far as fucking with my bag.
Bro,
I'm sorry.
That was the part where I was like, Shay, come on.
I know you love him, but like this
is not worth it.
Hold on. Pause. That's the two of them in essence. Unfortunately, at the end,
they don't get back together.
They don't get back together. It's very open-ended. Che listens to the song, and then that's just about it to them.
It's funny though. We kind of
video.
The music video. We saw the music video prior to getting to know what's the end, right?
Yeah.
Like we hadn't finished the drama, me and Tops, right?
Yeah.
So we're like, I saw the music video, and I was like, Tops, check this out. Like, I can't believe it. So in the music video of the song, it's like Jiv singing on stage, and then across the bar, like at the very end of the bar, you see like barcode sitting there, right? Then we say Kim and Shay, right?
Yeah,
so Shay is sitting at the back, and he's playing this song, and then like while he's performing, they make eye contact across the bar, and both of them look sad, right? And that's how like the music video ends. And like in between, it's like scenes of KinnPorsche like just getting it on or whatever, like OTP, look at our OTP. So it ended like that, and I sent it to Tubbs, and I was like, do you think this is maybe an indication of how this is going to end, right? And Tubbs was like, no, they can't end it like that. And
I was like,
there's no fucking way. And I'm like, Tubbs, let's just get our like hopes down, because you know, with shows like Tide BLs have a way to fuck you over, right? So fine, when like it's okay, we'll just get our hopes down. And we didn't even get that because he never sent it with press.
It was okay with video. I was like, what the fuck? This seems like what I think. Che was one of the only characters, like not only. I'm sorry. Che was one of the few characters that I really, 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 really wanted a happy ending for.
Same.
Not them not giving it to him. I didn't understand what the reason for that is, and I'm sorry. Like
Shay and what you call McDowell, right? The two younger characters, because McDowell is Vegas's little brother. But he had a whole situation with Porsche. I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah, but technically McDowell, I mean, he is a spoiled rat. He is a spoiled brat, but I'm saying in the end, like, technically it is a happy, it's not a sad end. Technically it is like his own version of a happy.
Yeah. But still, like, those are the two characters that I was rooting for to get a happy ending. McDowell got question mark his happy ending. By the end,
not an unhappy ending.
It's not that happy ending. Like he's away from his abusive father.
He's got his brother that he loves.
Exactly. He's being taken care of by Pete. Pete is a very gentle soul.
We have went so far. We'll touch on Macau with Vegas and Pete.
Yeah.
Which is who's next? We have to talk about Vegas and Pete.
It's Vegas and Pete. Nah, okay. We're done with
Yeah. I think out of all the characters in KinnPorsche, like biggest fandom within the fandom,
it's Vegas and Pete. It's either they're the biggest fandom or they're the loudest, and I'm not sure which one it is.
Either one, I'm scared.
I don't like this.
I don't like this.
And the consensus just across it, we should, but no.
Listen, okay, we're going to tackle character for character, and then we're going to get into the inner workings of their relationship.
The actual dynamic between them.
Who should we start with Vegas?
Okay, let's start with Pete, because I think he's the softer one of the two, so let's start with Pete. Pete, his history is the fact that prior to him joining the main family and becoming a bodyguard, he comes from a family where his father was abusive. Like for his entire life, he hasn't known a gentle touch from his father, being beaten out, or whatever. So as a result of that, he got like raised by his grandmother, right? So he's in this because he wants to take care of his grandmother financially, and he has no other means in which he can do that, right? Mm-hmm. Prior to him even joining the mafia, he had a long history of like acting out with violence or whatever, but he's kind of gotten better at regulating himself the older that he got, the more away from his situation that he was like, he kind of like performed, I guess, quote unquote self-therapy.
Honestly, starting at the starting point of this thing, Pete is one of the most
level-headed,
yes. That's
and he's like the most level-headed, the most kind and understanding and patient character out of everybody, right? So he's those characters already, like from the jump, presented as, okay, he's the level-headed one. He doesn't have a whole bunch of drama. For the most part, he kind of just hangs out with Tanquin and his people, and they watch dramas all day. But like, he is a very level-headed character. He's very also quite intelligent and very perceptive. He notices like little things in people very, very quickly. Yeah, he's an awesome friend as well.
Amazing,
right? And extremely loyal as well. So he's like kind of come from this terrible, terrible background, but he kind of like changed it for himself, and he's in a much better space, right? Similarly to Pete, because I don't think there's really much you can say more than that. Vegas comes from he's from a minor family, right? But he's his father resents him, so he comes from kind of like a really similar situation as Pete, because he has never known a gentle touch of his father as well. He has some major daddy issues, inferiority complex.
Exactly. A lot's going on there.
Exactly, because he feels an inferiority complex towards Kinn, because Kinn is kind of seen as like the superior one over Vegas, the golden boy. In comparison,
exactly. It's mentioned by Pete at some point that your dad resents you because he resents himself.
Yeah.
You are like a reflection of people because you also seeing yourself constantly failing against me. You're like, why can't I be on your level?
Exactly. Why are you trying so hard, basically?
There's a lot going on there mentally. Like the dad is also not only verbally, emotionally, but also physically abusive towards Vegas. And Vegas in turn, I think this has obviously been happening since childhood. It was not just a thing, but it escalates as the situation escalates. But that has turned Vegas into like one hell of a sadistic character.
Because I think even the introduction to Vegas as a character was when he was covered in blood up to he just tortured somebody. Because he's very sadistic, and sadistic in a way where it's like, it's almost like, I don't even know how to describe it. He's just terrifying. He's terrifying. Because he has no, like, for example, unlike Kinn, right? Kinn, whenever he has to like murder someone or he has to do something of that regard, right? You can see a level of remorse that he has. He might not show that remorse in the moment of things happening, because he has to play the role of mafia boss.
Also, like, most of the time, it's out of necessity. It's like a strategic move. I need to do this. With Vegas, it seems like coming from a place of pleasure as well. It's like, I'm not, like, yes, I have to do these things to level myself up.
But I actually enjoy
torturing these people and hurting these people. And it's like, motherfucker.
So he has this whole thing where he's just like extremely sadistic, and throughout the progression of his story, it's getting worse.
He's manipulative, he's a snake, he's sadistic, he's cruel, he's a lot of things, because he's also like, he lies, and like he does a lot that he does. He's hurt almost everyone in this drama. Like, he played, I have to commend, he's good at playing people. He's manipulative. He was able to convince Porsche, who's been told by everyone from the major family, do not fuck with Vegas, don't trust that guy. But he was able to convince Porsche and play Porsche into believing that he's actually a decent dude.
It's just he can run away with him even.
Wow! My God, why was Porsche the decisions Porsche was making, bro, were very questionable. Whatever. But anyways, he was showing Porsche like those gentle side of him. But no, not a bad guy. Even with Pete. Like he was like showing him the soft side. Like, no, I'm helping you. Like,
but the difference is, though, Pete could pick up on the fact that
Pete could see,
see right through him.
The thing is, though, Pete has always also been in the main family, so he knows the kind of person that Vegas is. Pete was not being fooled by this. He was a snake.
Nah, you a snake.
But Porsche was out here being fooled.
He was just an idiot.
Yeah, he was an idiot. Him and KinnPorsche, a brain couple there. They're not a brain couple for sure. But what you call this? He was very good at like playing people to get what he wants. He played and hurt a lot of people to get what he wants. And in the end, his plan was like foiled. Like, his plan actually didn't succeed. And the person who foiled his plan was Pete. Pete was able to infiltrate the minor family, get onto the computers, get all the information to prove that Vegas has been a snake. The main family knew this all along, but they didn't have proof. They couldn't go to the minor family and be like, y'all are betrayers.
Exactly.
Just
like, you're selling information.
Yeah, and then what are you talking about? We'd never do that. But they finally got the information thanks to Pete. Pete, thank God at least Pete sent the information. It wasn't like a thing of like, I'll give it to you guys. Exactly. Vegas caught Pete and
he held him captive.
And here ensued. This is where, you know what, man?
This is where now I start having my problem with the Vegas Pete fandom.
I don't understand it
because I've seen. Okay, I'll start bringing up I'm gonna tackle these arguments that they've made, right, one by one. I want to tackle those. Let me finish typing my hair. So first one, it's not Stockholm syndrome. It fucking is. Because people were saying that it's not Stockholm syndrome because Pete went there with the expectation that something bad is going to happen to him. He went there with the expectation that he was going to get killed or tortured or something. Yeah. That's why he was able to face Vegas like head on, right?
Yeah.
For something to qualify as Stockholm syndrome, there has to be a power imbalance. The power imbalance being the fact that Pete had no agency. Pete had no ability to leave. Pete had no decision-making power. Pete could not speak up for himself. Right. Now that's established. Vegas had all the power. Yes, Pete could get into Vegas's brain, right?
Yeah.
And tick him off or get him to leave him alone for the moment. But Vegas had all the fucking power. If he wanted to torture Pete that day, if he didn't want to give Pete food, if he just wanted to rape Pete, he fucking could.
Yeah.
He could. There's a power imbalance. Number one, right? Number two, the captee, in this case Pete, starts developing sympathetic emotions for the captor, right?
Sympathetic, yeah.
When Pete walked in, he absolutely hated him.
Yeah.
He absolutely hated Vegas. He was expecting that Vegas is just going to kill me.
He really doesn't know anything about Vegas besides, you a motherfucker, like, I hate you.
Exactly. Right.
But what happened?
But what happens is the fact that he sees Vegas in a vulnerable position for the first time, right? Where his dad slapped him across the face. Vegas is in a very vulnerable position. He doesn't know how to actually handle the entire situation. Pete recognizes in Vegas something that he has in himself. A wounded little child that never knew the gentle touch of his father, right? And automatically sympathizes with him because he's like, I get it. I finally get why you are the way that you are. Because
I went through the same thing.
I went through the same thing.
Had an abusive
exactly. Those are the sympathetic feelings, right? So already now we're meeting the entirety of the definition of Stockholm Syndrome. What then is missing? What's missing here? Because on top of that, it wasn't just Stockholm Syndrome, it was trauma bonding.
Yeah, the trauma bonding was real.
It was fucking real.
It was like, now when you start talking about, oh, my dad used to do this, and this is how I coped.
Exactly.
Like, that's literally it.
And it wasn't just trauma that they went through.
Tied to the red.
Bruh. It wasn't just trauma that they went through in the past that they were bonding over. It was trauma that they were currently going through. Because right now, Vegas's world is falling apart, right? Pete is the only person who's able to comfort him. They are bonding over the trauma that's currently happening. Pete is also grieving the fact that I can't go back home right now. He's also experiencing a trauma. It's inflicted by Vegas, sure, but he's still bonding with Vegas over that trauma. Because Vegas is now sitting here like, I understand. Listen, they trauma bonded. So it's trauma bonding. It's Stockholm Syndrome. And then there's also this other argument that another person made. That they were like, the scene where I think Pete was drunk or something. And like Vegas went in and like he was like all up in his face and like he felt like he placed his thumb on Pete's neck.
Yeah.
Somebody was saying that no. He was feeling for Pete's pulse, right? To check if Pete was like turned on or whatever. Like his pulse was rushing. Okay. Right? One thing that you don't understand is the fact that your pulse rushes also when you're scared, right? So his pulse could be rushing for one of two things, right? Either he's extremely scared or he's extremely turned on. Either one, right? Vegas did not know which one it was. And you can tell he did not know which one it was because when he started torturing Pete, he was fucking caught off guard when Pete started enjoying it.
Yeah, which also second argument is that Pete being a masochist over here and taking pleasure. I don't like the argument that people make because Pete likes pleasure. People are like, basically it was like a sadistic masochist relationship with a dumb son kind of thing. And it's like, that's not how it works. Just because a person is into pain, like just because, I get pleasure from pain, doesn't mean that any Tom, Dick, and Harry that whoops me, I'm going to be like, all right, this is cool.
There was no consent.
No, there's no consent there. First of all,
he already keep it in mind that Vegas wasn't coming in there with the prerogative of, I'm trying to please Pete.
Yeah,
even with the prerogative of, I'm trying to torture Pete.
Break him. My whole thing is I'm going to break. He was like, I'm not letting you off easily. I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to first play with you as my toy. And then, so this whole thing with you. They were not having a masochist sadistic relationship. It wasn't that. The one just so happens to get pleasure from getting pain and whatnot. But it doesn't mean that because he does get pleasure from it, then it was okay that Vegas was doing that. This man was treating him worse than you treated even a dog. He was taking his plate and shoving it into the ground and saying, eat this food here, off the ground, off the bowl. And I understand where people where were the lines crossed? At what point did we think, this is kind of cute though?
Bro.
I know that they had their moments where they were bonding and talking about, I like like the trauma bonding, and even that little cute moments where they'll talk about Vegas would make Pete a meal.
Yeah.
I know those existed, but that also exists in abusive relationships. It's not always the person.
There's a reason why people stay in abusive relationships.
Exactly,
because of the good moments.
Exactly. It's those little good, and and this is what this fandom, y'all are seeing. Y'all are glancing over all these horrendously bad things that he did and looking at these like little cute moments. But in fact, this is an abusive relationship. The fact that whenever Vegas was triggered in any kind of way, any emotion being triggered
out on Pete,
whether it was positive or negative, it's either he's ready to show the positivity to be, I'm gonna cook you dinner because
he's about to beat his ass,
or he's about to beat his ass or hurt him emotionally in some way because he's hurt. That's an abusive relationship. That is toxic as hell. And the fact that people were not seeing that confused the hell out of me. He wanted to get out of there, and I was so terrified at some point that he wouldn't leave, especially in that scene. My God, heartbreak. When he went back, can I just say these two actors? Paul and Bible are such amazing actors. That scene where Pete was holding the knife to his neck and saying, just kill me, I would rather die. Broken me to this point. And then you have Vegas here crying and like saying, no, I'm sorry, and all that stuff. People are now saying that, oh my God, he realized he was about to lose the love of his life. No. He realized he was about to lose his pet. I don't know if you guys have realized the whole metaphor here with the whole pet thing. Exactly. Like he literally has these pets that he keeps around to be like his low emotional holder. Exactly. And then when he loses them, he loses his shit. He needs Pete to be there to be his punching bag, or he's like a little, I don't know, something to make him happy.
Exactly.
It was straight up abusive. It was not okay. Both of them had issues. That is the core of this thing.
That's the core of this thing. The fact that, like, with Pete, right? Pete, the reason why he's not running away from Vegas in the first place, right, is because of the fact that the thing I think that people don't necessarily get when it comes to abuse victims and children who come from abusive households, right? The reason why children who come from abusive households end up cultivating environments or end up in relationships that are extremely abusive themselves is because that's the place that they're most familiar with. It's their comfort space. That's why you need therapy to unlearn that, right? Because the thing is, Vegas felt familiar to Pete. That's what it comes down to.
Both of them found that familiarity there.
Exactly.
And they were like, no, I have to keep you.
Exactly.
It's just bad. Like, I cannot imagine it. Oh my God, it is just so bad.
It's so bad.
Every single thing that triggers Vegas in any way, he immediately goes to his emotional punching bag and he attacks. And he has to take.
And he takes it because of the fact that when Vegas does do that, he brings Pete back into his comfort space again.
Exactly.
Right?
One
Vegas
cycle.
Like Vegas literally embodied what Pete was like, with the type of the relationship that Pete had with his father. Literally, the reason why he finds so much comfort in him is because this feels familiar. This is what I'm used to. And I haven't had therapy to unlearn it, so I'm going to go back to it.
It was they are terrifyingly good actors, because as I was watching everything, I was like, my God, like, I was so convinced. I was like, I am watching an abusive relationship unfold.
Literally.
Like, I was watching that thing and I was hugging myself at some point and I was like, dude, like, this cannot continue. Like, I don't think. The thing is, you already know, because they're the side couple, that they end game. They're going to end up together. And I was like, in what? Like, I didn't. And what are they going to do? I was trying to figure out what are they going to do, and I was already thinking of things they could do to get them to end up together. By the way, they didn't do those.
They didn't do any of those things.
They didn't do any of those things. But I was thinking, there is a world in which these two end up together, but there's so many things.
Not when they like in the state.
Yeah, it can't be the state. No. Okay, did none of them. Oh my God, this couple, Pete gets away. And Pete gets away because I don't know, in that he had a moment of strength and he was able to get away. And oh my God, I hated that montage they played where they separated now and they're like emotionally crying. They, like, please, this is not like a forbidden love story. I don't know what people
are. Right.
This is not some star-crossed brothers.
It isn't.
Shit. It is straight up just.
It's abuse.
It's abuse. It's an abusive relationship. And until both these parties go to fix their issues, or at least attempt to work on their issues, they shouldn't be together, because it's one toxic. Obviously the show's over now. But like, in my world, right, when I can't continue their story, like in my imagination, if somebody triggers fucking Vegas in any other way again, the person he's going to take it out on
It's Pete.
is Pete. Remember that whole speech about the pets thing? Stand up, please, get off the ground.
Choose. Your kid wants to be bit. What? He treated you worse than a person ever fucking treats a kid.
I would never treat my pet that way. I'm sorry. I have a little cat, and I would never treat him that way. And he pisses me off. Like, he sometimes just turns into the void, and I'm like, oh, you get a post? Basically, okay, so Pete, let's just do the timeline. Pete gets away. In a moment of strength, gets away, gets back to the main family. It very clear to everyone that something happened.
Something happened.
That Pete not right. Protected Vegas. Like, when first instinct he had was to be like, nah, nothing happened. I just,
By the way, that's Stockholm syndrome as well, because
protecting your captor.
Yeah. Because the thing, the incident in which this Stockholm syndrome was named after in the first place, it happened when these group of people were trapped by a bunch of like bank robbers in a bank vault. And by the time that everybody was able to be taken out, none of them wanted to testify against these people in court. All of them had sympathetic feelings towards them, telling the cops that they weren't bad people, they should release them. That's how Stockholm syndrome fucking works.
Exactly.
So him protecting him, Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
Can't convince me otherwise.
It's not how that thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, Stockholm, so he protects Vegas, and he doesn't say that it was him, despite everyone knowing it was
him.
Vegas thing. Who the fuck else would do this to you? But okay, cool. And then, like we mentioned before, what brings them together again after Pete is free, and we can get in therapy. Porsche bargained him to Vegas, and he said, "Oh, okay, I need information about my uncle, blah blah blah, and if you need, like, I'll get Pete for you. I'll get him isolated in a random place." Oh, also, the thing is, to get Pete there, they were like, you know what? It's been so long since we went out and had fun. Pete, you are going through some shit. Let's go and celebrate. That's how they got Pete out. That's how they convinced Pete out.
Bro.
Pete did not want to go. But he was like, no, you, me, Tango, like the old days.
Manipulating him to get him out because he knows that he's selling him to Vegas.
Vegas, of course, they see Pete gets scared immediately. Fight or flight mode kicks in, and he wants to run away.
Literally breaks down crying.
Vegas is also crying. Oh, little Papa, I'm sorry. Please come back to me. No. Listen.
No.
None of this nonsense. Is Vegas, please come back to me and all that stuff. Pete actually, he almost did, but he almost did. The thing that stopped me was someone walked outside, and they were like, okay, and then Vegas ran away.
But he would have got, he would have gone back.
Yeah, because he was gonna go back. Because I forget in the book, but it's months that they were together, according to the book. It wasn't it was a long time. That's why I was like, KinnPorsche, how the fuck do you not notice your friend's gone? But anyway.
But the whole time was singing songs about where is he? This doesn't make sense.
You fucking idiot.
Like, he's like, man, but like, Pete wouldn't do this. Pete wouldn't just send you a fucking text about, oh, I am gone to see my like, this is not how Pete works. You should know him by now.
No. Anyways, he was very close to giving in, and I was very terrified because saying it is very possible. Like, it's the same that we mentioned in abusive relationships. This happens. The abuser will come breaking down in front of you, crying and begging to
manipulate you to come back.
It's literally emotional manipulation, and it's very sad. It's honestly really triggering. It's fucking drama. But someone interrupts them, and they separate. And the next time they face off is like in this giant battle between the minor family and the main family, where the minor family is like, oh, the major family is weak now, we can infiltrate, and they go to fight, and Vegas is there leading the charge, killing people, sacrificing his own men. Selfish as hell. Vegas was not supposed to die. He was never gonna die.
I was hoping
he out here doing this, but
honestly, you know that one scene, like, I don't even want to get into the fight. Like, that last scene where he, like, got shot.
He got shot so many times that he still knows.
Right?
Like, what the fuck?
But, like, that last time where he got shot, where it was, like, dramatic, where they were like, oh, he might actually die. And then, like, he got to a pool area where, like, Pete was begging for his life. Right? I was also sitting there, I was like, let him die. He wants to commit suicide. Let him.
It's not your job to
fix people.
It's not your job to, especially when you yourself have your own issues.
Exactly.
It's not your job to be fixing people. This person has issues. He really needs to seek help. You can be there for him. You can be support system, but being his punching bag, that is the one. This whole thing of like, I'll be your pet. It's fine. take me back. Boy, stand up, get the fuck off the ground. Do not beg for your piece of back. So hard to watch, very hard to watch.
It was extremely
it was
hard to
not
watch.
romantic. I will die on this hill. I don't care what people say.
And then like that's final
TP,
but that final shot like on Vegas's back, and like he was like lying on the floor and Pete was like crying over him. I was like, please tell me he's dead. I was like, I hope he doesn't wake up. I want to see the next scene being his gravestone. Yeah, no,
Mine not technically died.
I said Macau did not deserve content love. Exactly. I just don't. I want the next scene to be the funeral. But no,
was how, because first of all, right, you remember how we said, like, hey, Porsche, honestly, I'm still mad. Porsche and Hang just like teamed up, and it, like, once again, he demonstrated that he cannot be trusted. When Davis was able to corner both Kinn and Porsche now, and he was pointing the gun at Kinn and Porsche, being like, okay, I'm gonna kill you. Like, I've been waiting for this moment this whole time. I'm gonna kill you. He was willing to kill. He wanted to actually. He was just interrupted. He wanted to kill both Kinn and Porsche. Porsche, he wanted to kill to break Kinn's heart. So for starters, I'm gonna kill Porsche, break your heart, watch the love of your life die in front of you,
and then kill you.
And it's like, Porsche, why was this the man you were teaming up with? This, like, God help me. It will never make sense. It will never make sense. And then, like, I don't know, they can't say he used his men as a shield. He did not give fucks about anyone. I hate that whole thing himself. And I hate this thing of, like, you know, he was tough and hard for everyone but Pete. No, it was his emotional punching bag. He needed that. It wasn't that I hate the world but I love you. It's you are giving me the thing that I've been getting from my pets all along. Because, like,
you're the human version of my pets, basically.
Literally the human version of my pet, and I can fuck you too. So great. And it's perfect because
it's a weird into pain,
and I like pain. We are perfect match. It wasn't this whole love thing. I'll die in this here.
It wasn't love.
I can't eat. It was whatever. It was what you call this? He loses his dad, and once again, because as I said, when a big thing triggers Vegas, he's very impulsive. He's like, I'm gonna take it out, Pete. I'm gonna kill myself. I'm damage you. Martha Pete is begging on the floor to be kicked in. Pete is laying on the floor that he's pet against. He's like, leave me alone. I'm worth nothing. Worthless. I'm gonna kill myself.
Oh, yes, you're fucking right, you worthless bitch.
It's the thought to even care a little about your brother.
Bro.
You're talking about I'm gonna kill myself. What about your brother? Like,
what is Miguel gonna end up?
Like, he does. Like,
Miguel's not even here on the property. There's Miguel that's
so selfish. Bro, and at least think about, like, your brother. Like, what the fuck is this? And whatever. I hate him so much. I hate him so much. Like, not Bible, the answer.
Yeah, honestly, man. For me, there was a period of time right after KinnPorsche where I couldn't consume Bible content.
No, because it's so different. No,
listen, I was just saying, like, I think for about a week after KinnPorsche, after I finished it, I could not consume Bible content until I caught myself. And I was like, okay, no. That wasn't Bible. Yeah, that was Vegas. Okay. Let's find out what type of person Bible was.
Because I knew, the thing is, I watched a lot of
content from the actors before.
Yeah, so I didn't. Yeah, that's the thing. I was watching beforehand. Obviously, not necessarily a good thing, but I was watching beforehand, so I already knew their personalities outside of the thing. So with Bible, it was very easy for me to snap back right into it because I was like, I know who Bible is. I know who I get you.
I didn't at all. I think I needed about a week.
Fair enough, because
I got completely
amazing actor. You know, it's an amazing actor. It's like it's who he is.
Bro, I mean, you get to know Bible, you're like, Bible, it's
you. You playing a mafia,
exactly, too, bro.
But anyway, yeah, but he lives, and at the end of it, like, they get together. Basically, Pete is like, okay, I'm gonna stay by you.
Yeah.
Bible first does the whole thing. I'm like, no, I have nothing there. You should leave me. I'm witness. Or Pete's like, no, I'm gonna stay here. Anyway, they get together, but like, I'm very worried, very, very worried about their relationship. Their future is very weak. In the book, it's not weak. It's not in my mind. In my mind, in the realistic world, it's very weak. Yeah. Vegas is going to have he's going to have another outburst, and there's nobody else to take it out on. It's going to be Pete. And Pete, you best friends with Porsche and Kinn for Vegas. And a couple of hours before this whole, like, I'll be your pet.
He's together,
and he's
going to isolate him.
Killed it. It's Van Goon and the bodyguard he was with I think. It didn't stop him.
Honestly, like, he's going to do a thing where he's slowly stopped isolating Pete from the rest of his friends. It's going to be a thing, because in my head, Vegas is like the worst type of abuse.
Somehow though, like, in the real world, that's how I see it as well. But the writers are not going to write it in.
They're not going to write it that way.
They're going to write it in a way where somehow Porsche is still friends with Vegas. I don't know how their dynamic ever works. Porsche, stop trusting this person who's a friend.
It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense.
I hate it. But like, the way they're going to play out Vegas and Kinn's rivalry is going to be like a playful.
It's going to go from murderous to playful.
Yeah, but like, no, these people have been wanting to kill each other from the very. He was willing to kill him. He was just stopped by Tankun. Do we forget the details or what?
I don't even know. Honestly, I'm tired.
Because people now. It is the loudest fandom Vegas.
It is. It's the loudest fandom out of everybody who comes out of KinnPorsche. And honestly, I know they'll hate things.
I see that. Okay, you know what? Like, I get it. They're the spicy couple. One's a sadist, one's a masochist.
Deadass.
Okay, cool.
Where's the consent?
Yeah, where's the consent? I get it when they finally fucked you guys. You're like, but guys,
where's the consent? Where's the dealing with the daddy and mommy issues? Where's the therapy? What is happening?
There's no such thing as consent if you like, even if you're saying yes or go ahead, but like with the captor that you kidnapped, there's no consent. The fact that you don't have the ability to leave whenever you want, just because now you're agreeing to have sex now, that's not consent.
That's not consent.
From the day he was held captive, all consent was off the table.
Literally.
We have mentioned this whole thing in the Vegas has the power. Vegas, no.
No.
Also, remember that shit about Vegas, which said, I don't know what the writers were doing here, but remember the shit where Vegas was like, you know, when they were about to have sex, but Vegas didn't go forward and he was about fun or whatever. Because he wanted Pete to be the one to whatever, and he was like,
to initiate it.
I'm not going to actually do anything, assault, whatever. Was it not Vegas in the beginning who trumped Porsche and with them like rated if somebody can walk in? And then the second person got back again, then twice, and then Kinn came in and got mad and Porsche said, "You're so loose." What? Why did Vegas try to? I saw the politics didn't matter. Now consent matters, dude. Untie me and let me go. Also, when Pete was crying on the phone talking to his mom, he was out here touching him on the side.
No,
you know what I mean? Like, Vegas,
don't.
He's just the bad guy. I'm sorry.
He's just a bad guy.
He's just the bad guy. The only person who's worse than Vegas in this, and it's because I don't know what the fuck he did. I'm very curious. What should he get his dad?
And he's so shamed by the end when, like, you know that one line where he says, history is written by the victor. I was like, so what do you know and what don't we know? Can we know? What do you and Kim know? Because Kim is
Kim knows something. Read something, whatever, and it's not the full piece of the puzzle. That's why he's investigating, but he knows something that is like, Dad, I don't trust you.
Yeah.
I don't want to be part of this business anymore.
Yeah.
I know what you did. There's something going on there, and I wish we could have explored that a little bit more, because we kind of just threw that in, and then we
just never went anywhere with it.
We never went anywhere with it. We were expecting a season 2. By the way, don't want season 2.
I don't want a season 2, not with the writers. There's a whole drama going on.
Yeah, the writers.
I don't even want to get into it. Exactly.
But overall, now I have to. My favorite character. Can I just talk about Tankun? Favorite character, our voice of reason, intelligent, clearly the favorite son.
He's also the smartest son. I feel like Kim was right in thinking that Tankun is faking. Also, thing. He's doing it purposefully just so he doesn't have to take over the family. I don't think so.
He's very smart. He's very observant.
He notices a lot of things that like his brothers don't be noticing.
Yeah. And he just acts dumb. He just
acts dumb, but he's actually really, really smart.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tankun, favorite character, very smart, very just drama queen in her bag.
Yeah.
Like amazing.
Yeah, amazing. He filled the role as the actor as well. Amazing.
Honestly.
Now we have to rank it.
For all my complaints, I kind of walked into KinnPorsche knowing exactly what I was doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mafia drama.
It's a mafia drama.
Yeah, I was not expecting it to be like not toxic. If I was
expecting toxic.
I was seeing toxic. Like I expected it.
But it doesn't change for me, right? I'll even take the Kim and Shay story for what it is. I'll take it for what it is. He wasn't meant to have an happy ending. But my main problem with KinnPorsche was the romanticization of abuse.
Yeah. Because it was just...
They didn't show it for what it was.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we can show a character and in a sympathetic manner, and terrible character. We can show a terrible character in a sympathetic manner. But that doesn't mean glorify the abuse that they perform.
Yeah.
Which is the line that they crossed. Where I'm like, cut the cameras, dead ends. I don't fucking care. Like, no. That's the part I would change, personally.
I would also change that a lot. I feel like there is a way in which they could have shown this as he is, that he can be who he is, the sadistic motherfucker, twisted, manipulative, all that stuff. But not romanticize the way him and Pete's relationship was. Like, not have this whole thing with that, oh yeah, he's messed up and whatnot, but Pete didn't heal him, but like Pete was there to be like, oh, you know what, actually Vegas has a soft spot.
Exactly.
He's not all hard.
He's not
like,
all bad.
Like, look at how he cooked the meal for Pete, and how, like, you know, I gave him aftercare after sex and whatnot, and he's willing to die. No. He's so that a hallmarks of an abusive person.
Literally.
Like,
abusive and manipulative person.
Abusive, and it's on all fronts. Physically, emotionally, everywhere. Yeah, no. So I feel like they could have still shown that him as that person.
And even his history of the fact that, like, he comes from abuse and whatever. Like I said, they can show a terrible character in a sympathetic way.
Yeah.
But don't glorify it.
Don't glorify him. Don't try also just to sweep it under the rug. I was supposed to have the fact that Vegas' dad is dead. Now Vegas is normal. No, he still has issues. It doesn't mean that now his abuser is gone, that his trauma is gone. No, his trauma is still there. His inferiority complex is still there. Like, now, also the grief of his abusive dad is an addition to all of this stuff. He's more fucked up than ever. And the fact that we're just gonna say, oh no, but not because he's got Pete and Macau, he's fine. No, he can have Pete and Macau, but we need to acknowledge that he has a lot of issues that he needs to work through right now. Like, he's the kind of person that out of everyone in this drama, they need therapy. He can't just be like, oh, okay, you two are here, you guys are my family. No, something is going to happen that is going to trigger him, and he's going to lose his shit, and he's going to be taken out. No. Yeah. So, in my opinion, oh my God. So, there's the B category, which is needs touch-ups, is like either a few big things must change or a lot of minor. Yeah, that big thing being Vegas and Pete must change. I really don't mind the other couples. I do, like I said, I just like the fact that Porsche did change for the worse.
Same.
That's something, but I really love Kim's growth, and I didn't think they were going to even do anything with that, and I really appreciated it. I do like the story in itself. It was a really interesting story. It was the whole...
It was also very unique because we didn't even have like a mafia be all done in this way in particular. Prior.
Yeah.
It was like so high budget. The acting was done very fucking well. Like,
the acting was absurdly good.
Bruh.
The chemistry between all the actors, not just the romantic ones, just every character when it had acting with another.
Like Apple and Barco convinced me they were brothers.
Yeah, literally. Like there was no dynamic that I wasn't buying there. Whether you were a villain or good guy, like a side character, you just need you were selling. I think that was amazing, and because of that, I can't put it like at mediocre.
Same.
I feel like it's better than that. Touch-ups. It just needs touch-ups
because it's the one big thing that I changed.
Yeah.
The glorification of the abuse.
Don't romanticize that shit. Like, especially because a lot of people who watch KinnPorsche are like young people, and I don't want people like watching something like that and thinking,
no, it's so good, it's fine,
it's so cute, because you'll find yourself in that situation and you think to yourself, I just need to stay and I can fix him or her, because women can also be abusive. But that is just not the case. Like, most times you need to walk away. You need to do what's best for yourself and leave that situation. Like, you cannot fix a person. You're not put on this earth to fix a person. You can be there for people. You can be supportive for people. You can root for people, but you cannot be the emotional punching bag. You cannot be the glue that's holding them together.
You can't save
That's not your job.
You
can't be saving people.
You can't save people. You're not cheap. Okay.
Need some work.
Need some work.
B tier.
B tier. Next we have Long Time No See. Are you gonna read it?
Yeah, sure.
Read it. It popped up on. Oh my god, we've been talking for so long.
And the background. Oh wow! I knew it. I knew there's no ways. Like I knew we were gonna. Oh,
That's why we needed a separate episode.
Yeah, because there's just so much to say.
Yeah.
A long time no see. So the synopsis goes. This is a Korean drama, by the way. We've been speaking about the Thai dramas for a while. This is our first
Korean
one in the category. The renowned hitman Flying Dagger starts dating Wild Dog, isn't really what he seems to be. While both of them hide their secrets, they cannot help falling in love with one. They run into danger as gangsters chase after them. But will Flying Dagger reveal his secret identity? Will they be able to overcome obstacles and keep their love? Question. Very short.
It's actually quite a short drama. It's like only, I think, 5 episodes.
And it was also one of the oldies. It's like one of the first
KBLs.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't even know like anything about this existing. But I have seen like a few edits here and there. It's just, I don't think it's too many people that know about this. Like,
it's not as popular as the other Korean dramas would be, or BLs in general. It's very old, very short.
They're from 2017.
2017 is like the beginnings of BL. And it's also, it's not what people typically would, like even if I watched this in 2017, I don't think I would have liked it, because at that time I was a very much based lover.
Yeah.
And this drama is like, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on for something that has 5 episodes.
Yeah. Like 5 17-minute episodes.
Literally.
There's still a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
Okay. But basically this is also like, because it's in the action dramas, as we said, this is like we have a hitman, we have hidden identities.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck is going on?
So basically, right, the plot goes that it's this dude, like Flying Dagger / Cheese, right? He's an orphan. I'm just gonna spoil everything. He's an orphan, right?
We do.
He's an orphan, and he gets adopted by his by this person who's working as a gangster or a hitman or something like that, right? And essentially, in him adopting him, he kind of trains Chisu to become an assassin, right? So he kind of, even though he calls him his father, he kind of sees him as nothing more than a tool, right?
Yeah.
Chisu doesn't really mean anything to him. He doesn't really give a fuck about Chisu. And Chisu knows this, knows that he doesn't really like him, right? But Chisu, when he's not being an assassin, he's an online author. So he's working as like this online, not working per se, but he has a passion as an online author where he like does, I guess in the context of the story, it's presented as a fan fiction, but it's just a story about his life, right? Where he writes about this gay assassin person and the terrible things that he has to do and all that, right? And through that he meets Gite, right? Who's our second lead. They talking, but they don't know each other. Like, he doesn't know, like, Chisu doesn't know Gite, Gite doesn't know Chisu. They know each other only by their online handles, and they kind of communicate. One day they agree that they're gonna meet up, and also prior to this, Chisu does see Gite like occasionally, like just around.
Yeah, in person they see each other, but obviously because they don't know each other.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, I feel this attractive person.
Yeah.
I don't know who you are.
And like Chisu has this thing where he's like longing for another person in his life because he knows Gite, right? So he's like consistently every single time he watches Gite, he's like, oh, he's so young. But he doesn't do anything about it, right? Because he's like shy boy.
Yeah.
So eventually it gets to a point where they're supposed to meet up, but Chisu has to like bail out because he got called by his father, and like they pass each other again. Then later on, after his entire mission, Chisu shows up to a restaurant that is run by Gite and his sister. That's where they find out that, oh, you're you. Like, okay, hi. Right? So, yeah, so it's like a cute little thing. They start developing friendship / relationship. It actually gets really sexual really fast. Like, really fast. I think that, like, maybe Sure. Did they do anything together with that? I don't even remember.
They did. It was clearly like
Sexual tension.
It's been building up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also two talented gay people.
Yeah.
Who have not been able, like we said, they're longing for a partner, but it's like, not easy to find.
Yeah.
So then, like, they finally alone together, and it's just
Sparks fly.
let's do this.
Yeah. So they sleep together. Their relationship, we're kind of following the progression of the relationship developing. We see that with Chisu's father, quote unquote, there's some tension building with his rival, and he's kind of planning to get the rival killed, right? So we also see at this point that Gite is also an assassin himself. He's hiding all this from Chisu, right? And he's actually working for the rival guy, right? And it's like this whole hidden thing, so because he doesn't necessarily want to tell him. So it gets to a point where like it comes to a head, and I'm gonna skip a bunch of things that happen in between, but it comes to a head, and Chisu is sent out to go kill the rival person, like the rival mafia head, right? Gite is kind of used as a backup for these people. So he intercepts Chisu, and they end up like having like a whole fight in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And that's when it's revealed, right? So to Chisu, because this entire time Gite has also been really feeling guilty.
Yeah.
Not knowing how to respect. How do I tell him? Right? So it becomes a whole situation. They fight, they tussle. Chisu is absolutely upset. He's like, what the fuck? Like, why did you tell me this whole time? So he like leaves. And then he ends up going back, like, Gite initially goes away, but then he ends up coming back. And then when he comes back, they have the whole confrontation. They end up, like, patching each other up and, like, choosing the whole thing. Which leads to them, like, leaving together once again. I left out this whole subplot of Gite and his sister, and, like, and Chisu bonding. Because, right? Because the story there is the fact that when Gite came out to their parents, the parents kicked Gite out. The sister was like, no, that's my little brother. She went with him and was like, I'll raise you instead, right? I'll take care of you and I'll make sure that everything's taken care of. But they still have financial issues, which is why he ended up in the gang in the first place, right? His sister has no idea about the second
this whole assassination,
right?
Yeah, no.
Exactly. He has no clue. So, at some point, Chisu's quote-unquote dad finds out about their relationship, calls the rival guy, and is like, what the fuck, like, your person is fucking my guy, or that, like, yells. That the rival guy is like, let them be.
Yeah, he does not change.
Let the kids be in love. It doesn't matter anyway. And Chisu's dad is like, no, like, separate them. So it becomes a whole situation where he ends up like kidnapping Gite. And Chisu only like finds out after he goes to the sister's place that like Gite is missing because his phone got fucked up. So like when he was like, so there's like no way he could get in touch with him. So he was like, okay, fine, I need to find him, but he knows exactly where to go because it's the same place I think that they go to torture people anyway.
Yeah.
So gets there, it ends up in the final like face off between father and son. Of course, Chisu wins, the dad ends up dead. And then it ends up with like this final scene where it's like a photo of Chisu, like it's Chisu, Gite, and Gite's sister taking a picture together basically, and they both like in suits. She's dressed up real nice or whatever. So it's like a family it's like their own little family basically. Yeah. It was cute.
It was cute. Like
it was cute. You can tell that the production value wasn't really like that high.
Yeah, it's a very low budget.
And
also it did come out in 2017 where like people were not making BLs like that, especially KBL. So it was like at a time anyway, like they didn't have the resources to make this grandiose thing.
Yeah.
But like for what they had, I think what they produced was pretty good. Yeah. It was like, oh, okay, great.
Honestly, I think this is like one BL maybe that I can say that it did suffer because of its runtime. It needed to be long because there was a lot going on in the plot. Because I mean, like also with the rivalry between the dad and his rival, they know their names. What was that? Like it's like what was that? What was the beginning? Where did it come from? Where is it coming from? What is the motivating force? Why are they calling each other? And now, like it's just weird. And then also the relationship between Chisu and his quote unquote dad.
it's like, what is their dynamic? Where did it stem from? When did it start? Like, there's so much to unpack here, but unfortunately, we couldn't do that because of the runtime. But we also understand why the runtime was short. You know, they couldn't make it any longer. Like, even getting it out there, most people don't even know about it. So it's like, I get it, but my God, if it came out today, it would have been a phenomenally long drama. It would have made a great K-drama. 16 episodes. There's a lot. Like, there's a lot going on that they shoved into like 5 episodes.
It really
17 minutes.
Like, it really felt like you were watching a summary of a drama.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
That's what it felt like. And I felt like there's so much more dynamics to be explored, even with the sister. What's going on in her personal life.
Exactly.
The entire dynamic between Gite and his sister, because we're only seeing one side of the fact that, okay, she's sacrificing everything to protect him, right?
Yeah.
But then on the other end, obviously Gite is very, very ready to give his entire life to protect his sister.
Yeah.
So what's the dynamic there? Like, how do they handle situations together? Like, there's so much more to be explored, and we just couldn't.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But yeah, I
really liked it. I guess I'm torn with, like, as much as I get that the runtime had to be short, and I get their budget limitations, and I get the time it was made.
It does affect the experience.
It does affect the experience, because like you said, it is like watching a summary of a drama, meaning there's so many questions left up in the air.
What is this? What's going to happen?
Exactly. So it does hurt it. It does.
It really suffered from its runtime. Genuinely suffered.
So it's immediately mixed out from like the top 2 tiers being S tier, superior and super superior. It can't sit there, unfortunately. Leaving, I think, for either very good or needs touch up. Yeah, those two. Because I don't think it's mediocre. I think for what they had, they did a very good job for what they had. There are people with even larger budgets that crush on you, cough, cough.
Bro, they just don't deliver what they want to deliver.
Exactly. So I think it's either very good or needs touch ups. I think I might go very good. I wouldn't change her substance, but a few minor things. The runtime is just a minor thing or a big thing.
But the thing is, it's not stuck.
The story I don't want to change. It's just I want to explore it more.
Then it's A.
It's an A
because
tier.
It's an A tier because I personally wouldn't necessarily change the substance of the story.
Yeah, the story is.
It was great.
I could see what they were even trying to do. It's just that they didn't have enough time to show everything,
to explore it thoroughly,
which, you know, it is what it is at that point. So, yeah, I think 8 tier, very good.
It's very good. It's just the runtime that's kind of killing this one. Lastly, Golden Blood.
Golden Blood is also another one where I don't think a lot of people know about it.
I haven't seen that many people talk about it, or if they do, Anyway.
Okay, I'm going to make this comment after, actually.
Okay,
so the synopsis goes, the love story between a strict protector and a rebellious boss. Sky is a young master and the son of a mafia boss. Here we go. And Sun is the bodyguard who was sent by Sky's father to protect him. But in the end, they fall in love with one another. How will they face Sky's father? You know, it's a weird way to... I think it's a weird way to write the synopsis.
Yeah. It was.
I know that, like, it was a conflict point, Sky's father at the end.
It wasn't
the main thing, like, guys. Like, okay.
There's so much more that happens. The synopsis was just, like,
lacking. But anyways, I have to say, okay, I'll just say this now in case I forget to say it, ironically. But the drama is very forgettable. It is like a very forgettable drama. 2021, so we would have watched it in 2021. Yeah.
What else did we watch in 2021, actually?
Probably a lot of things, but still, like, it was last year. The fact that we forgot this drama that came out last year versus drama long time no fucking see came out.
I remembered it.
There's so many dramas that came out before this drama.
Way before.
And this one, I even forgot that I watched it. Caps brought up to me the fucking other day, like, we were making a comparison for what drama.
Yeah. KinnPorsche. I think it was for KinnPorsche. Because it was, it was for KinnPorsche. We were making a comparison to KinnPorsche.
Where Your Eyes Linger meets...
I was like, if Where Your Eyes Linger and like what was it, man?
It was very Icelander and Golden Blood, but I don't know. I don't think you're comparing it to KinnPorsche. I don't know what was it. It's not exactly KinnPorsche, so it can't be. Because where Icelander is, and could it be? What's another show where there's a guy who has to protect the person? I cannot think. But just making a comparison of like it's giving where Icelander mixed with Golden Blood. First, she's a golden spoon. But even when you eventually create, because I was confused, I was like, what the fuck is that? Yeah, you're like, no, Golden Blood. I was still like, what the fuck is that? Like, no, man, this one was I googled it, read the synopsis, and I was like, the name sounds familiar, and this, but I don't really remember. But could not for the life of me remember. Obviously, had to give it a rewatch so I can refresh my mind. And even now, I'm like, I can see why this was forgettable. Also, we spoke about this before, but like we group categories according to like one's most suitable for them. Like okay, like the history series got grouped together because it's the history series. You guys are together, but then those categories, the action dramas, like the ones where it's more action than charactership. Yeah, and I agreed because I was like, yeah, it's bodyguard, mafia stuff. Okay, cool. Rewatching this drama, I was like, this should have been in the fucking group category. Then like, I was like, you also, if you didn't have this whole plots thing going on for you, like, I would have put you in Goofy category, which Stumps has named the What the Duck category. I put individual, my God. Just to get into this drama, basically, it's so canon. It is so fucking ham. It's so canon. You know what it says that upon it? Is that the premise is there. The premise is there. I can see what they're trying to do. So the story is actually quite interesting. It has this interesting element. So basically, the one guy, the one guy is the spoiled son of the mafia boss. Yeah. And the mafia boss at some point lost his wife and almost lost his son. And the wife died whenever broke his heart. Cool. But his son became kind of the love of his life. This is the most important person in my life. And when he almost lost his son, he needed a blood transfusion. And then they said, okay, it's unlikely that you're gonna get blood for this child because he has a rare blood type. A very rare blood type, golden blood, hint. It's a very rare blood type that very few people in this world have. And the dad was able to find some poor orphan kid who has the same blood type. The dad adopted the kid and basically was like, oh, this is my son. Like treating him like, oh, you're my son. Basically indoctrinated him. Yeah. Because he didn't even treat him like it was a son. He basically made him build his entire philosophy around, I'm worthless if I'm not protecting your son. But I need to say the whole thing of like him being like, okay, call me dad. True. It was like giving him that whole sense of, okay, I have a family. I'm an orphan, but now I have a family. He doesn't know what... He treated him like a cult leader would treat somebody. Exactly. He doesn't know what an actual parent-son dynamic looks like. He's just like, oh, he's saying, call me dad. That's my dad. And then he basically raised him to be like, your entire purpose in this life is to take care of, or to be the protector to myself. Exactly, in all aspects. First of all, your blood, that's for myself. Like, the only reason you are alive and blood is pumping through your veins is because you need to protect myself. Yeah, he has the same blood type as you. And then also I'm going to train you to be this badass bodyguard. Literally. Why? Not to protect yourself, to protect my son. But you can call me dad. That element was a very interesting element. I thought that, like, even reading the synopsis, I was like, cool, this is, we have that element. Okay, it wasn't in the synopsis. But it was an interesting point. It was an interesting point. Sounds very interesting to see how they're going to go about this. They just didn't. And it was like, there's so many things that went wrong. So I'm going to start off. I don't typically, like, in all these dramas that we've ranked, you might have noticed that we didn't really talk about the acting. Yeah, because nobody has done it. It's either your acting is phenomenal that we have to mention it. Exactly. Not me. We're like, even KinnPorsche, Bible and Book, like, they saw anyone, honestly. Like, it's either your acting is phenomenal that we had to mention it, or your acting was good, so we don't need to really mention it. It just goes without saying. It's just okay. Like, it's just like the acting was shocking. Okay, the main reason why we're talking about acting, the reason why we're talking about the acting in Golden Blood, right? What you always say Golden Spoon. Like, the reason why we talk about the acting in Golden Blood in particular is because the acting literally kept removing me from the drama. I could not get invested distracted. I could not focus on anything but how bad the answer.
Let me tell you something, right? This is not me calling the answers shitty.
Yeah, because the answers are good. First of all, what's his name, man? Get the fucking name of this person.
I'm trying to also get it now.
Because he's like, okay, so our lead, Sky, right? His name is Gun. His name is Gun, and he's acted previously in Love by Chance.
Yeah.
We'll talk about in the future. And in there, he was doing a pretty good job. Whenever his role as Techno was acted really well in Love by Chance and in Love by Chance season 2.
Even with difficult emotions that Techno was going through, like, flip an example after the whole thing with Clara happened. We're going to talk about it in the future, but like,
yeah, when we get to it.
Yeah, but he was selling really, really complex emotions and deep feeling emotions, right?
Like, doing really well.
He was doing really
like,
well.
I would never have questioned his acting in any way. I was like, that's good. I didn't really know all the actors all that well. But the point is that, like, you know, he was stunning. It's not that they're bad actors. In that particular drama, I don't know what happened. Like, there was just even the bad guy. There's the dad, like, who's the enemy to the dad and the dad. They've also been in other dramas that I've seen before. Would not recall their names, even if you ask me to. But I've seen them in other dramas, and they've played similar roles. Where I was like, okay, cool. This drama, I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened.
Like, it was just so, I don't know.
And still count. Like, I don't understand. Honestly, right? I don't understand if it's because the director couldn't decide if he wanted an action or a comedy, or if he wanted to lean more on like the comedy, the comedic action. But he whatever he was trying to do, no, it didn't work.
It wasn't working.
Because honestly, for something to be like action and comedic, right? That means that even if you have comedic elements, it's fine to have comedic elements, right? It's fine.
KinnPorsche,
exactly. It has its comedic relief.
Yeah.
Especially in Tangur, right? But when it becomes serious, you need to sell me on the seriousness.
Yeah, you can't be looking like you were looking. Can I just say, okay, so they're the two leads, right? So Sun and Scan. Sun, he was very bland as a character.
Yeah.
Like, it was just blandness. It was like he was not giving enough. Like, there were times where I was like, I just need a little more. A little bit more. Like,
And
sell me on this emotion. Because right now, I'm looking at bland.
I feel like as well, I can make a comparison with like, what you call, we're going to talk about it in the future, my engineer, right?
Oh, okay.
Listen, we're specifically Realming King, right? So, what's his real name? Her, right? Her plays Ram, who is a very, very like cold, like stone-faced character, right? Yeah. And this is what this character is also supposed to be. Per souls. This one did not stay.
He just seemed blank.
It wasn't like he was not.
There was just nothing there. That's the thing. Like, if you're gonna do this stoic look, there still has to be, like, I still have to see hints of emotion somewhere else. If you're not playing it on your face, that's gonna stay blank.
And that's why you're playing like Lanjani. Like, I
don't want to bring up Dante, but he peak. My face is blank, but you can see all my emotions.
But you can see all my emotions on my face.
Exactly. I'm not even doing anything with my face. It's all my eyes.
Exactly.
Like, my eyes are this guy, dead eyes. There was nothing going on. And then after that, while Sun, who's played by Boat, was underacting and there was nothing there, Guy, who's played by Gran, was overacting.
Brazilian is anger.
Yeah, it's anger. One is overacting and one is underacting.
I don't want to watch. Honestly, when I was like rewatching, because like the second time I rewatched this thing was in preparation for the exam. But I'm like, oh my god, I literally was sitting there. I was like, why did I delete this? God, it's so funny.
I have that saved on my playlist on YouTube. I was like, I'm watching this.
No, I think it was. I think the first time I watched it, right? I think the first time I watched it.
Not the tears in the eyes. Because I want to see myself there. I'm going to do what
I think it was. Okay, wait. Oh, I think the problem was the fact that the first time I watched it, I watched it seriously. Right? Because I was expecting something serious. But now I rewatch it and I'm like, this is the best thing ever.
Oh, man. Oh my god. Jump. Posh, you can't, like, I don't know what's going on. I hate what was going on in the set. But it's not just that, but when we have now also, like, I don't know who was in the editing room on the director and stuff like that, but like, there are scenes that should not be as long as they were. We lingered on so many shots where I was like, can we cut this? I don't understand. Like, we get it, he's upset, but we don't have to spend 5 minutes watching him. I watched 5 minutes of this guy crying over a person crying. We all know he's not dead. Please cut the fucking scene. The only, like, can I just say, you know, at the end of KinnPorsche, where Pete is crying over Vegas, yeah. If it was that scene was longer, I would, you know, and start. Yeah. In this particular scene, I was like, no, this doesn't make sense. Don't do this. He's not dead. We know he's not dead. The fuck, and he's not true. That shit's falling on this for so long. How long are we gonna watch him crying? And the thing is, the problem with watching this person cry over this boy, he's also not selling. That's what I'm saying. As we mentioned, he's not fake. He looks like he's not crying. Like he's making the crying face. Like, you know, the typical crying face, but his eyes don't look sad. There's no tears welling up. He's just, there's nothing there, and that's the problem. If you're gonna linger on these heavily emotional scenes, and actors not getting, I'm laughing. That's the only option. I'm laughing, and then no, you double tap the screen. Come on, but it's sweet. Let's fast forward this over. I watched it 2 times speed. I'm like, dude, I was watching on 2 times speed, and I was double tapping to it. And it was so long. There's so many scenes like that where they linger way too long. And I'm like, no, this should have been cut shorter. Please, anything to make us not notice that acting in this, you should have done. You should have done it. But yet you highlighted it. You highlighted it so heavily, and I'm like, no, because I think that's what happened. Because he's not a bad actor. None of them are bad actors. This is why I'm like, I'm not sure if it's because the fact that like the director is maybe used to like doing comedies. And that's like, I don't know what comedy is making. When you overact in a comedy, you can be funny. But in a comedy, like the dynamic between an overactor and an underactor, funny as fuck. Yeah, it works. It's funny, but I shouldn't be laughing in this drama. It was not meant to be a comedy. It was laughing my asshole. Like even now, I'm barely holding my house. I want to feel so bad. I am struggling to understand what was going on. And then, okay, so there's a few key things I need to like bring up in the drama because like it makes me laugh. There's once I wanted to bring it up, right? So outside of like, I even like made a note of it actually. Okay. So outside of like that whole, actually there's a few scenes that I wrote about. So there's the one where like Sky was acting really like selfish at the end where he was like, I'm gonna run away and go to the club. I was like, do you not know that your father's a mafia? Like acting you, yeah. Exactly. Like on top of the fact that like you know that your father's a mafia, if he suddenly sends you a bodyguard, like don't you put 2 and 2 together? Like you're dumb. Anyway, and then you know that scene where after like he goes to the club and then like he gets hurt and then like he gets a small cut in the hand, right? Like she's like really hurt. I don't understand. Like, were you shot? It's like, what was going on? And that was the point where I was like, let me look up the tags actually. Hang on, maybe it'll be wrong. Wait, hang on. I want to see, maybe there's comedy in here. There isn't, I checked. The tags are, first, okay, the genre is action, romance, youth, drama. And then the tags are mafia, skilled fighter, LGBTQ+, a romance, strong male lead, hidden identity, orphan male lead, cohabitation, student, and bromance. Ain't no comedy in this. It's not supposed to be a comedy. Why were there so many comedic elements? Why did it seem like they're gonna get along? That's another one that I wanted to this was the main scene that I actually wanted to talk about. Like outside of the crying one, okay, the part with the crying one that didn't make sense to me was like, okay, because y'all saw that he was getting attacked, like how the paramedics taking this long. Also, why y'all leaving him alone doing CPR by himself? Like, are none of the people who are working here like trained in CPR? It was crazy. That was actually crazy. I was like, what is wrong with y'all? Anyway, on top of that, the one scene that made me really, really laugh, and it shouldn't have. Do you know the one where he confessed while they were on the raft? Right? He kissed him and everything. And then like, Sun was like, no, like, get away from me, right? Think that like had me like, it's the realization that Sky can't even walk away. getting stuck on this wrong and so then you had to wait till you get back to shore. You had
to wake them up to pick up the oar so he could do it.
I would swim away. I would swim away. I'm jumping into the water and swimming away.
It was so funny because it was like he said no, right? And then the guy was devastated, right? So he turned around and like he stayed at the edge of the rock, like with his back to our son. So they're just standing there and looking at his jacket and like that. And I'm like, what?
I would swim away. I'm sorry, but I would jump into the fucking water and swim away. I couldn't even swim by like, I'm lost still on that raft after I just got rejected like that.
And waited for the other person to reject it back to the shore, to paddle us back to the shore. Okay, can I just talk about the girls for a second? Someone dance. Yo, shit, the girls in this.
They two girls, each into the, so one girl, God, I should know their names. Let me get their names. One girl, the thing was into Sky, and then Juno was into Sun. When I tell you how much these girls could not read the fucking room,
bro,
insane.
Bro. How dense do you have to?
It's so totally into the
Sun was quite literally pushing her hands away multiple times.
Where she got the idea that they were even like remotely romantic in any way.
I don't get it either.
Bro, when he time was there, Sun was like,
bro,
that girl, I didn't understand what she wasn't seeing. Like, it was insane. Like in a K-drama, I've never seen someone more oblivious in my life.
Same.
Even in the old K-dramas where the girls were villainized and whatnot, they could see that there's something. There's something. That's why they were bitches, because they could see that, okay, there's something. These two girls could see nothing. But then again, with the acting that Sky and Sun will bring up, maybe they took it and reached on it. Denton's house. The plot itself could have been great, but there were some goofy elements.
Like we said,
it's very campy.
I don't know if it says more about our characters or if it says more about the production, but we just found it really funny. Like, you just heard us, like, we just like, yeah, no, we can't hold our shit together.
Yeah, and it was really funny.
It was really funny.
And I forgot a lot about this drama. Like I said, initial watch, completely forgot it. Didn't even existed in my mind.
Yeah.
Blocked it out completely. That's why I should have went to What the Duck, because I also forgot about the duck. So it should have been there.
It should have been there.
It is an actually drama with mafia shit going on. There's a bodyguard involved. There's a lot going on. Yeah, he's meant to protect him. The other one is a brat. Guy is a brat, and the son is protecting him. The dad. Oh, let's get into fucking dad. Anyways, eventually, at the end of this, they find Sky and Sun decide, okay, we want to be together. Want to be together after Sun has been doing the whole no, we can't be together, I'm just your bodyguard thing. He finally is like, let's be together.
Tell me why. The dad fucking decides that, no, you're not good enough for my son. And then he does this whole test thing. The last episode was not.
They didn't. I guess someone was like, you have to make an episode.
Exactly.
Doing it right.
We didn't need the last episode at all. Because he does this thing where at first he's like, initially like, I don't want you together, you don't deserve my son. The fucking son stands up for himself for the first time ever. He's like, no, like, I protected him, I live for him, I love him.
I'll do anything
for him.
As you raised him.
Exactly. And then at the other side, Naya, Sky is also like, no, I also really love him. Like, he's the love of my life. There's no one leaving him, right? The dad decides, this is not good enough confirmation for me. So what I'm going,
him taking bullets for my son, like
not anything.
Like literally devoted his life to him. And even at the end, he's getting shot in for my son. All these things that he keeps doing for my son. I'm still not convinced. I'm going to fake this entire like kidnapping situation where we're faking son getting kidnapped. Sky comes up and he's like, I think he's basically ready to tussle. He's like, I'm gonna lose my life with him. And that, I guess, is like confirmation enough for the dad, like, you're willing to die for him. So like, let's not die in real life. Please don't do that. Like, no. No.
I don't care how much you love a person. Don't fucking do that. The only person you're allowed to do that with is your own child.
But yeah, that's the only person I'm sitting in front of.
Literally.
My child.
Yes, exactly. Or even your mom.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But not what's your romantic partner, don't ever fucking do that. So anyway, so he's like, okay, no, it's proof enough that you love me. And that's still not enough. He still proceeds to separate them afterwards. Like, okay, you have to like go to school and like earn your degree. You have to do like your own bodyguard thing. You have to spend X amount of time apart for you guys to prove that your love is real. Like, you know, he's willing to die for him. What more do you want? Just stay in a job hoping they don't end up together. And then be upfront.
Yeah, just be upfront.
Be upfront.
You literally cannot stress enough. Raise him for years.
Literally.
Like this from childhood up until now. You made him. His entire life is dedicated to your son.
Literally.
What the fuck are you talking about? Prove your love.
He's the most. Honestly, he's the most perfect. If you need somebody to dedicate their entire life to your son, there's no one who's gonna do that more than he is.
That it's his entire life. His
entire identity is literally built around your son. One more perfect. But then it was the campiness was given.
You might want to talk about the side characters.
I don't even want to. I don't want to.
Don't know what the fuck was going on with him.
It was even the way they got together. Oh my god, I didn't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, because no, we can't even talk about it because it came out of nowhere. So you can't even be like, oh, this happened.
Exactly.
Literally now they together.
One episode they were fighting, the next episode they were kissing.
All
like,
right.
What the hell happened,
guys? So
we're gonna look at this not in the lens of entertainment factor because it's fucking entertaining. I'm gonna watch it again.
Yeah, and the funny as hell, but it wasn't. That wasn't its intention. It wasn't
trying to be funny,
but it was funny as how
it was. Yeah, I would recommend it for the capness. But if we're going to go with the actual structure of our tier list here, yeah, no. There was a lot of stupid decision making in terms of the characters, so I would change a lot of decisions that the characters made. I would change a lot of the character actions, not just decisions, but the things that they actually did. Because it took fucking Sky getting killed, I think, like 3 times for him to realize that, oh, my life might actually be in danger. Maybe I'll benefit from listening to that.
Exactly. Literally, your dad sent a horse bodyguard and was like, I'm sending him to protect you.
Bro,
I'm about to hit the club.
No.
And dude, sit the fuck down.
You almost got killed 3 times before you started listening to him. Like, you stupid fucker. Anyway, and also the girls just being so dense, I would change that. Because, like,
schools.
Bro, that thing pissed me off because at some point I thought she was picking up what was going on. No,
put him down.
Bro,
God, no.
It's hard, no. Pitch was fucking creepy from the beginning. I mean, like,
and they just and it was funny. And I was like, what are you doing? Because when you guys then have your first kiss, you freak out and you're like, oh, what are you doing with these juniors? You're already seniors here who's all up in their business. It's like,
where are the people your age?
Where are the people your
age? Because he went from being so creepy, like having creepy undertones, to automatically, all of a sudden, he's not creepy, even though he's the exact same. I never understood that. I don't understand I don't understand Pitch as a character. Bank was the best character out of everybody. He was the most simple to understand. He was just well-intentioned.
It's the best because everyone else was
because he's also very stupid. And then he actually lived on his character. He was the only one who sold me about his character.
Yeah, because he wasn't trying to rob, but he also wasn't bland. He was also meant to be the comedic relief. So the thing is, it worked in this drama because he is the comedic relief. It seemed like everyone else didn't get that memo. They thought he's supposed to be the face. No, I thought they were meant to be the comedic relief, but no, it was just bang.
It was just bang. Honestly, yeah, he sold his character. I fucking hated the entirety of the last episode. I also hated episode 7 because Pitch and Bank had no business being in there.
Why was they involved
with the mafia stuff? They had no business being there. Hated that. So, as you can see, there is a fucking shit ton I would change. I love the premise. I love certain story point, but just there's a lot to change. Even the exploration of the fact that, like, like Sun was basically put into like this cult-like belief, right?
Yeah.
That would have been amazing to explore, but not with this drama. This drama was no.
It's in a bad character. It should not be like the reason. Every drama, do not recommend and agree.
Do not recommend if the premise is there, but execution.
Yeah.
No.
I also think it's
On every level.
But I would recommend if you want some camp fun.
If you want camp,
yeah. But as what it was trying to do not recommend. It's such a like. This is why I was saying like maybe it shouldn't have been with this category, because in this category of like the actually dramas, nobody ranks lower than very good.
Oh wait. Oh, needs touch-ups.
Yeah. KinnPorsche is a new touch-up. But we already explained why they did.
Yeah.
But as a drama, it was a phenomenal drama. It was amazing.
Yes.
It was a great drama.
It was just the romanticization of abuse.
Yeah, I will never forgive them for that. I will never forgive them for that, especially because I still see edits. Dang.
Oh,
to this day.
He wanted it. Fuck you, no. Fuck you, no. No, don't even. Anyway. That concludes our today's episode. It's episode 6, right?
Yeah.
This concludes episode 6. We've been talking for a while. I think I might need to edit this one down a little bit.
Yeah. Especially the fucking has laughing our asses off. A solid 2 minutes.
I need to edit this down a little bit.
Yeah.
But thank you for tuning in. That wraps up our category for the actiony ones. I hope you enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Please go watch Golden Blood. We can't be the only ones watching it.
Please go watch it, because a lot of people haven't watched it, so please go watch it. Go watch it. Enjoy.
Go enjoy. I promise you will have a nice camp. If you like shit shows, that's Anyway, thank you for tuning in. You can come and follow us on TikTok, on Twitter, even though we're not really that active on Twitter. Yeah. Admittedly, we're more active on TikTok than anything.
Yeah.
If you want to sign in on YouTube, if you're listening on YouTube, subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, you can follow our podcast. Give us a thumbs up or a 5-star rating. Awesome. Or anywhere else actually, because we're also on multiple different phones. Just not on Apple Music.
Yeah, not there.
But yeah, thanks y'all. So bye.
Bye.